So there was one big point in my life where everything changed. And I would love to share this story with you because I think we can all have feelings in our lives of this deep wondering and this deep aching of there's got to be more to life. And this sadness in our hearts of like looking around at our lives and being like, is this it? Is this really like what life is? And this calling inside, this aching inside, looking for more. And I struggled with that for so long in my life. And it was so sad and debilitating because I just couldn't find the answer. I just spent a lot of my life doing what everybody else was doing, or at least from my perception, what I thought everybody else was supposed to do. We grow up and we try to be good kids, and then we try to go to school or get a job, and we try to be good members of society and do a job that makes us money, and hopefully finding a job that makes us happy too. We try to date, we try to have friends, we try to go to social events, we maybe drink, we maybe try to have fun, but we also try to get everything done, do, and make our to-do list and all of these things, right? And I can't say that I'm not still doing some of those things, right? But I no longer have this like deep aching inside me that I tried to numb before. I tried to like stuff down with like weed, overeating, being a workaholic. I tried to numb it before because I couldn't find an answer. I couldn't find an answer of, okay, I feel like there has to be more to life, but where? Where is it? Okay. And so I just really felt a calling to share my story. I was inspired by some friends to share and the power of our stories, okay? And so for me, I spent, grew up, went to school, went to college, did the whole college thing. I spent 5 years in college. I got 2 degrees. I was like, okay, these are the steps, right? And then I got a degree to be a filmmaker. I really wanted to be a film director. And I always wanted to share important stories. I always wanted to share messages of inspiration to people. But my path just took me on an interesting direction because I didn't know how to do that. And so I'm like, okay, how do I do that? Filmmaker. Became a filmmaker by, again, some beautiful serendipitous events. I was in a sorority in college. I did all the things. I was the person, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but growing up my whole life, I just was seeking. I was just like, what is it? Where do I get that feeling? Where do I get that sensation, that satiation of that there's more to life? And so in high school, I tried everything. I tried beauty pageants. I tried to try out to be actor. I tried all the sports. I was doing everything I could within my means, growing up in a middle-class family, to try to understand like, where is the more? Where is the life? Where's the more to life? Yeah. And so then going to college, got multiple degrees, did the sorority thing, tried, again, everything I could get my hands on to try. And then I eventually moved to Los Angeles. I grew up in Ohio in the United States, and then I moved to Los Angeles to do the film thing. And I spent 8 years there. I completely accomplished my career. Like the career that like my whole life, I was like, I pray and hope that one day I will be able to be a movie director. And which, to be fair, I didn't always know that that's what I wanted. We're constantly evolving and changing. What we want to be is constantly evolving and changing. So don't feel ashamed or like something's wrong with you if you don't know what you want to do. That is so, I can't even say that I want to be a film director so many times. I literally changed my thing so many times. At first I wanted to be a cinematographer and just be the camera person because I didn't feel like I was worthy of even going for the goal of being a director. Okay, so there's a lot of steps here. But anyways, the point is that after 7, 8 years in Los Angeles, I did it. I was directing movies. I was traveling the world directing documentaries. filming them, being in them. I was directing narrative feature films, short films, music videos. I had my own production company where I filmed and directed and produced all the things. And I remember, friends and family and everybody being like, the whole time being like, wow, like your career, your job, like your life, how cool. And I remember moving up the quote unquote ladder pretty quickly. I was then eventually in the union for filmmaking and really being like, holy crap, like I've done it, I've accomplished this. And I remember being in the middle of directing a movie and just having this very clear understanding and realization of this isn't it. I'm here. I got to what I thought was the top, and I still don't have the feeling. I still haven't discovered what the more is. That more to life. There's got to be more to life. The calling inside of me was getting so loud at that point. It was screaming. It was like, just follow me. Okay. And so after I had been traveling the world off and on for a few years at this point, like I would go to LA and work, and I lived there. I had a base there. I had a car. I had a cat. I had everything. And then I would go and travel every once in a while. And in my travels, I really started to learn. I really started to see that like, oh, there is more to life. Like, and I still didn't find my more, but I was like, oh, there's people over here living this culture, and they're living a totally different way of life. They have a totally different way of living. They have totally different standards. Society told them to climb the ladder in a totally different way. And they're living that way. And then those people are living that way. And these people, and then there's shamans and there's healing modalities, and all of these things started to like come into my path. And they were like pulling me. They were like, come, Heather, come, they were calling to me. But I was like, no, I worked so hard for this life. I have a house. I didn't have a house. I had an apartment with some amazing people. I had actual family, and then I had friends that felt like family. I had an incredible job. I had a business. I had a cat. I had a car. I had so many belongings. Such a life, okay? And yeah, it just kept calling and kept calling and kept calling, and to the point that I started to think about becoming a digital nomad. I started thinking about, I couldn't help it. I had these thoughts to give it all up and start traveling the world and search for the more. And forgive me, you might be hearing a rooster because I'm now living in Bali, Indonesia, and there's roosters wandering around. But yeah, I kept searching for the more. And that's kind of why I wanted to start to travel, was just to search for this more, search for this satiation, search for this feeling that felt like it filled me, that completed me. Okay. And I tried the whole partner thing, dating, trying to think that will complete me. That doesn't complete me. At least I don't think it completes anybody, but I can at least speak for myself that didn't complete me. It's amazing. Love is amazing. Okay. But it doesn't complete me, or anyone, I don't think. And so I eventually decided to, after getting drug through life, after becoming more and more depressed, okay, life got harder and harder to keep going in this life that I had built, because the feeling like there had to be more and this calling inside eventually consumed me and was like, it was almost that the life that I was living was weighing me down heavier and heavier, and it was almost making it harder to leave in a way, honestly, but at the same time making it impossible not to. There was never a moment where all of a sudden my mind and my heart and my intuition were all just like, yes, do it, sell everything, travel the world. I waited for so long, and I struggled so much waiting for this clear yes. But it was such an all-encompassing decision. It was such a crazy, difficult decision to leave everything I had ever known, everything that was comfortable, everything I had ever worked for, the people that made me comfortable, the home, the cat, the comfortable bed that I could be safe in, everything. It was so hard that there was never a moment where I just finally was like, I kept waiting. Okay. And so eventually I realized that, holy crap, this isn't coming. There's never a yes, there's never a no. I'm just in the abyss. I'm just waiting. I'm in purgatory. And it felt like that. It was awful. And so this is honestly one of the most depressed points of my life. Choosing between everything I've ever loved, everything I've ever known. And it was an incredible life, okay? I was like, what am I doing? I'm gonna leave the most incredible life I've ever come to know for what? A life that I can't even imagine. It felt like leaving everything I'd ever loved, which felt like I was also shaming the people that I loved. I felt like I was also telling the people that supported me and loved me for so long that they weren't living their life right because by me wanting to leave that life. And that made me hurt so bad. I didn't want to hurt the people I loved. I didn't want to leave them. They didn't want me to leave them. And came to realize that you don't really leave anybody. But I was just absolutely struggling. Like, it's almost like jumping off a cliff where everything you've ever loved, this amazing life that you've created, is on the cliff, and then you're just going to jump into the clouds, jump into this dark abyss where you have no idea what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to fall, you don't know if you're going to fly, you don't know what that life looks like, so you can't even imagine. It's not even like you can fantasize and be like, oh, well, once I get there, it'll be so great when I live in this comfy room and I talk to these people and I'm on this place. It's like, no, there's nothing to even like imagine because you can't even fathom what that life looks like. And so finally I realized that a clear yes, a clear no is never going to come to me. But I couldn't live anymore with this calling inside, and I couldn't live anymore without trying. I realized that if I sold everything and I left and I tried it out, I tried to follow this calling inside of me, which the calling inside was telling me to go nomadic, was telling me to travel, was telling me to search for the more in life. If I tried that, at least if I didn't like it, I could come back. That was finally my aha moment. I was like, okay, people might think I'm crazy. People might think I'm inspirational to sell everything I have, completely live my life, leave the union and the career that I have to go and jump into the unknown and follow the calling inside. And so, yeah, that's why I did it, because I was like, you know what? If following the calling inside sucks and fails me, I can come back to Los Angeles. I could rebuild my career. I can get a new apartment. I can buy a new car. Like, as hard as it was to like shed all of those things, I was like, I have to at least try. I have to at least try. Okay. And so, yeah, I sold literally everything I owned. Left my job, said goodbye to my friends, threw a going away party, packed everything I had left into three bags, 2 bags and a backpack, and started traveling the world. And I eventually found it. I eventually found them more. And like, what the fuck? That's crazy. I almost lost hope that it was even there, that it was even possible, that it even existed, okay? And I'm not saying to sell all of your belongings and to go travel the world if you're looking for more, okay? All I'm saying is that calling that is inside all of us is guiding us in the most perfect, divine, incredible path we could ever imagine. And it is trying to take you to the more. And the thing that is missing usually in life, if you have this craving, is you listening to that calling and you trusting it and you going, okay? It literally changed my whole fucking life. Like, I can't even, like, wow. I am so lucky to say that I now have the absolute life of my dreams. And that doesn't mean that I don't suffer, that I don't struggle, that I don't question, that I don't have problems, that I'm not still making to-do lists and getting sucked into work and struggling maybe financially or in my relationship. Like, all of that is existing, okay? But I found the more for me. And I have that every day of my life. And the calling inside of me became my best fucking friend. And I love it so much. And it guides me everywhere. Everything I want to do, if I want to go left or right, if I want to buy that thing or that thing, I literally check in with it. And sometimes sometimes my mind, it's a very interesting thing. The mind doesn't always agree with what the calling says, okay? And I've really learned to surrender the mind and not listen to the mind, to listen to the calling. And to just kind of laugh. I'm like, oh yeah, just another moment that the mind can't understand it. That the mind would have chosen to buy that thing, but the calling told me to buy that one. And then a month later I realized why. Yeah. And if it feels too much to like follow it in a big way, just start to try to practice following it in a little way. Let yourself build that trust and that connection. If that feels something interesting to you. I'm not trying to say that my way of life is the right way for everybody. Everybody is here for their own reason in their own life and to have their own experiences, okay? All I would love to share with this story is that there is more, and you are meant to find it, and we can all find it. And all we have to do is listen to our insides. Nobody else can tell us what's right for us. My path is not your path. We know internally and inside, and it's just that trust and that faith that changes everything, changes our whole life. And so thank you for hanging out with me in this video. If it inspired you, if you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, whatever feels good to you. But I send you so much love.